Welcome to this explainer. Today we're completely demystifying the modern video editing pipeline. You can think of it exactly like building a house from the ground up, right? You need the raw materials, the structural framing, the specialized crew, and finally, the interior design. We're going to walk through that entire process together, culminating in how to execute it all inside the absolute powerhouse that is DaVinci Resolve 21. Okay, let's dive right in.
So, here's the million-dollar question. What separates an amateur project from a cinematic masterpiece? You might think it's just about having the most expensive camera or the newest software. But, while software constantly evolves and AI is throwing new shortcuts at us literally every week, the core fundamentals of storytelling and the architectural framing of a cut, those absolutely never change. A masterpiece is built on a rock-solid foundation, and that's exactly what we're building today.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Essential video editing fundamentals. 2. Mastering the essential cuts. 3. AI tools for modern filmmakers. 4. Inside DaVinci Resolve 21. And 5. Pro workflows and shortcuts.
Section 1. Essential Video Editing Fundamentals. Okay, we're starting with the raw materials of digital video. And we have to talk about proxy editing, because this solves the ultimate pain point for so many creators, your laptop practically melting. When you're dealing with massive 4K files, your system can just choke. Proxy editing is literally a lifesaver here. You create lightweight 720p copies to edit with, which keeps your timeline lightning fast, and then the software magically links back to your high-quality files right before you export. And hey, speaking of quality, always keep an eye on your bitrate. As our sources point out, a 50 megabit per second file retains incredible texture and sharpness, whereas crushing that down to 5 megabits will totally destroy your visual fidelity.
Another crucial fundamental is understanding the difference between your A-roll and your B-roll. Going back to our house building analogy, your A-roll, say an interview subject talking directly to the camera, well, those are your load-bearing walls. They hold the entire story up. B-roll, on the other hand, is the decorative windows and the paint. It's the footage of someone making espresso while they discuss their morning routine. Crucially, B-roll is what you use to hide your edits and make the viewer's experience feel completely seamless.
And that structural idea brilliantly illustrates another vital distinction: color correction versus color grading. Color correction is your technical repair work. It's fixing a shot that's way too blue or way too dark, just making sure the skin tones look natural and consistent. It's the plumbing, basically. Color grading, though, is your creative interior design. This is where you apply artistic choices, like throwing on that classic teal and orange tint for a gritty action vibe, or a cool blue tone for a mystery scene. Just remember, you absolutely must correct before you grade.
Section 2. Mastering the essential cuts. Now that we've got our files managed, let's step into the timeline itself and look at the architectural framing of the craft, the cuts. There are 10 essential cuts every editor needs to master, grouped by their psychological purpose. For time passing, you've got your jump cuts to show speed, along with fades and dissolves. For seamless motion, you've got the match cut, connecting shapes or colors across shots and cutting on action. For tension, you use cross-cutting between simultaneous scenes, or a really jarring smash cut. But listen, pay close attention to the audio leads, the J-cut and the L-cut. A J-cut is when you hear the audio of the next scene before you actually see it. An L-cut is when the audio from the previous scene carries over into the next visual. Mastering these audio-driven cuts is the absolute secret to making your transitions feel completely invisible to the audience.
Section 3. AI tools for modern filmmakers. Let's pivot to the modern revolution. AI is absolutely no longer a gimmick. It's practically a highly specialized production crew integrated into every single stage of the process. Check out this workflow. In pre-production, tools like LTX Studio and Midjourney are generating instant storyboards. For video generation, Runway Gen 3 and Luma Dream Machine are rendering cinematic B-roll straight from text. In audio, 11 Labs handles hyper-realistic voice generation, and Adobe Podcast, it instantly cleans up terrible microphone audio to sound studio quality. And for post-production, tools like Descript are just revolutionizing things. Descript transcribes your footage and literally lets you edit the video simply by deleting text in a Word document. It is mind-blowing how much time this saves. Section 4. Inside DaVinci Resolve 21.
Okay, let's bring all this theory and AI together. We're stepping into the ultimate workshop, DaVinci Resolve 21. Let's map out the edit page workspace. Up in the top left, you've got your media pool. This is where you organize your bins into A-roll, B-roll, and audio. Right next to it is your source viewer, where you hunt down the exact sentence or clip you need. And dominating the bottom is your timeline. This horizontal assembly line is where you actually arrange your clips, trim out the dead air, and build your story. And Resolve 21 brings some massive time savers to this space. And Telesearch is a total game changer. It uses AI to analyze your media locally, completely eliminating the need for manual metadata tagging. You just search for a coffee cup or a specific person's face, and boom, it finds it. Over on the color page, they've added a layerless view for anyone who gets a bit intimidated by complex node graphs, and my personal favorite, background rendering. This finally stops the app from locking up on you. You can generate proxies or export a timeline in the background while you happily continue editing in the foreground.
They also introduced a dedicated photo page, fully integrating still photography right into the video pipeline. The workflow is incredibly sleek. You can do a live tethered capture right into the software, organize your shots using AI facial recognition, and then apply some wild effects. For instance, the AI tool Cinefocus can take a really flat, basic smartphone snapshot, generate a depth map, and instantly turn it into a stylized cinematic masterpiece with a simulated shallow depth of field. From there, you just effortlessly export multiple versions and grading options.
Okay, lightning round. Let's blast through some rapid-fire workflow enhancements that'll keep your pacing tight. We now have Magic Mask rendering in place, which saves huge amounts of processing power. Tabbed bins for way cleaner workspace organization, quick picture-in-picture presets for effortless overlays, and remarkably, H.265 encoding support is now available directly in the completely free version of the software.
Section 5. Pro Workflows and Shortcuts. We're bringing this explainer home now. We've covered the theory, we've covered the tools, but what makes a master editor is execution and speed. Let's talk pricing really quick, specifically looking at the Indian market as outlined in our sources. DaVinci Resolve offers a free version that is honestly incredibly robust. It costs 0 rupees and supports up to 4K 60 FPS exports without any watermarks. But if you want to unlock those AI neural engine tools like Magic Mask or tap into full GPU acceleration, you'll want Resolve Studio. The brilliant part? Through Indian authorized resellers, it runs roughly 28,980 to 35,000 rupees. And unlike its major competitors, this is a one-time lifetime purchase. There's no monthly subscription constantly draining your bank account.
But no matter which version you're using, you need a disciplined assembly line. Here is the professional 6-step workflow in a nutshell. You import and organize, you assemble your main A-roll, you trim the fat, and then you add your B-roll to hide the cuts. Only after all that do you move on to your audio mix and finally your color grade. The golden rule here: never, ever start adding color grading or intricate audio polish until your structural visual cut is 100% locked. Otherwise, you're just wasting time polishing frames that might end up on the cutting room floor.
And to execute that workflow efficiently, you really gotta ditch the mouse. You wanna master these core keys: J, K, and L for rewinding, pausing, and fast-forwarding your playback. Use I and O to mark your in and out points, and rely on A for your standard selection tool, T for trim mode, and B for your blade to make cuts. Honestly, memorizing just these specific keys will literally double your editing speed overnight.
Which brings us to our final thought. Build your own shortcut muscle memory through daily practice. Look, theory is great. Understanding L-cuts and knowing about all these AI tools is fantastic. But mastering that muscle memory where your fingers just naturally fly across the keyboard without you even having to think about it, that's the true bridge between simply understanding the theory and actually executing a cinematic masterpiece. So as AI continues to automate all the tedious parts of our workflow, the real question is, what incredible stories will you tell now that there are absolutely no technical limits holding you back? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and happy editing.